Hi everyone and welcome back to our CRT channel from Visualpath. I'm Arun. Yesterday we have discussed about sentence correction, grammar and usage associated with sentence correction, antonyms and synonyms. Today we are going to move into much important one, that's the comprehension, because verbal ability is incomplete without comprehension. So we are going to discuss comprehension. So let's begin. Now, comprehension. People are excited about comprehensions. They love solving comprehensions. At times, people also find it really difficult to solve comprehension. Is it that difficult to solve comprehension, or is it just a mindset? The fact is, comprehensions are easy, at the same time they're tricky and time consuming because you do not have enough time on the test, and comprehension has a lot to read. So this is not going to be easy for you if you're wasting a lot of time trying to understand, comprehend, or try remembering lines from the comprehension. So what should be done with comprehension? So let's see what are the tips to crack comprehension easily. Preview the passage. Now, most of the cases, people do not even bother to read the comprehension. They just venture into the questions. So they read the question, they try finding a resemblance to the question. Either they go by their own understanding or something that's placed there to trick them to pick the wrong option. To avoid this, please read the comprehension or the comprehension, I mean to say the passage, because you'll be getting passages or a little write-ups or excerpts from articles. You're not going to have the complete comprehension, complete passage, especially for a test like TCS NQT, because time is a constraint and you have too many questions here. So all you have to do is read through the little write-up, the little paragraph. Take some time, spend some time, read through each and every word before you look into the questions. But how quick can you read? That's the point. Now, people have this habit of reading the passages with the lips. They don't produce sound, but they move their lips. When you read passages moving your lips, you're slowing down. And moreover, if you murmur or you make a little noise, that's going to disturb fellow candidates for taking up the test. Avoid that. So read with your eyes. And what should I read is the question here. So read each and every word that you have in the little write-up there. And always look for clues that you have in the passage. Usually passages have titles, headings, subheadings, something that's written in bold, something that's written in italics, numbers, something in inverted commas. Pay special attention towards these little markers like italics, bold, headings, subheadings, something in inverted commas, full stops, commas, and especially with the nouns. You find the name in the passage, just underline the name there for your reference. And if you do not understand any part of the passage, without reading or without getting into the questions, don't you try to solve, or don't you try spending too much time in understanding that little part of the passage, because you never know whether you need that little part of the passage or not. And as you read it a couple of times, it slows you down. And even the simple answer that's available there, you will not be in a position to identify it. To avoid this, just skim through the passage for the details. Skimming in the sense, just look for the nouns, numbers, something that's in bold, italics, inverted commas, and the commas with full stop. See how many sentences are there. Any new vocabulary that you come across. And you find a new vocabulary, just try marking it up there and leave it there. If you know the meaning of the word there, the new vocabulary, well and good. Even if you don't know it, you can find it out with the context that's there with that word in that particular sentence. So don't you waste your time in doing this. And don't you read a couple of times. Just read it once. And remember, time management is very important for your test. So read it once and read it as quick as you can. And when you read carefully. Look what the author is trying to convey to you. Is he trying to build up a sense of notion that he wants to imprint on your mind, or is he trying to argument against something? Is he giving his own views? What's the context there? What is he trying to explain? What's the whole idea, the main idea of the passage? Try getting a hold of main idea of the passage. And then annotate, underline the important lines. Like someone says this. So who is that saying it and what is that? If you want, you can make little notes next to the passage. Write few words in your own words. You can just make a little notes, and that notes will help you in solving the questions. Also look at the tone of the author, the mood of the author. What is it? Is he in agreement with the passage, or well, I'm sorry, it's not agreement with the passage. Is he in agreement with the title of the passage, or is he trying to argue against the idea? What is the mood of the author there? What is he trying to convey? Is he enforcing anything onto you, or is he just giving you factual information? Try finding those details as you read carefully, and then annotate those reasons. Okay. Further, identify the question types. Identifying the question types is important because every question has a keyword. And when you get the right keyword, finding the right answer from the passage is going to be a cakewalk for you. If you don't understand the question, you will be struggling hard on the test to find the right answer for the question. So what is the keyword in a question? Anytime a keyword will be the noun. So first look for the noun part in the question. With that noun, try connecting with annotated lines or with information from the passage. So first try with the noun there. If you don't find it with the noun, then look for the verb in the question, and then look for adverbs. Nouns, verbs, and adverbs are the only keywords that you need from the question that will help you get to your actual answer. Okay, so once you identify the question type, is it about synonym? Is it about antonym? Is it about a context from the passage, as in what is it trying to convey? Or is it about finding a suitable title for the passage? For these, read the comprehension carefully and connect it with the question, you get your answer. And also reading instructions is very important. When most of the candidates fail to read the instructions, they just directly get into the comprehension, and without even reading the question, they just try solving it. Read the instruction carefully. Apart from the question, if there are any instructions, read through them very carefully in detail, because they may be asking you in a different way. Maybe you have to write a word there, pick an option from the given options, or pick two options. To get a clarity on this, read instructions very carefully and never miss on the instructions. And as time is a constraint for the test, it's not always possible to get all the 5 right answers, because they may give you one tough question which takes more than a minute, more than 2 minutes, or it may even take 5 minutes. For questions like that, trust your instincts. Because you have solved some of the questions related to the passage, your instinct may tell you, pick this as the answer. And without a question, pick that as the answer. If it is right, you get a mark. Even if it is wrong, all you have is saving your time. So saving time is very important, managing the time. So if you don't get anything, just leave it there, or just follow your instincts and pick one of the options. And focus on specific details. Now, focusing on specific details needs understanding the question. Picking the keyword will help you focus on that particular sentence or the couple of lines. Always read between the lines and try to deduce the meaning of the sentence there. What is it trying to tell you? What is it that's hidden in the sentence there? It's always one idea that's always there in the sentence. But the problem, I'm sorry, the problem here is we do not see that single idea and we keep on reading all the stuff away from the main central idea. So always focus on the central idea to solve the question that's related to that text. Considering the context. Maybe it's a negative statement, but in that context, the negative statement is trying to relay or trying to tell you a positive outcome. Understand what is it trying to tell you. And first read the question, pick your keyword, place it in the context here, place the keyword and see how it reads out. Because they may not give you the exact word, at least they give you a word or a phrase close to that. So pay attention to those phrases, grab them, put it in the text here, and see what's the context and what is it trying to tell you. And based on that, pick your options. And as I've told you, managing your time is very important for the comprehension part, because if you do not manage it, all you do on the day of test is just solve comprehension and leave the other sections. All questions carry equal marks. So it's important that we solve comprehension and we move on to other sections. And comprehension is one part where if you solve one question with ease, the rest of the questions also follow the same speed. Okay, let's consider this simple excerpt from an article. So first, let's read the article. I'll read this. You can have a look at it. In recent years, advances in technology have revolutionized the way we communicate, work, and interact with the world around us. From the widespread adoption of smartphones and social media platforms to the rise of remote work and digital nomadism, technology has fundamentally transformed the way we live our lives. So what is this passage talking about? What's the main idea? It's talking about technology and its impact on our lives. So this is the first thing that should be in your mind. Like, what is it talking about? And let's see for some of the special or some of the striking features in this. Okay, recent years, there's nothing much. Advances in technology, maybe this is important, have revolutionized the way we communicate, work, and interact with the world around us. From the widespread adoption of smartphones and social media platforms to the rise of remote work and digital nomadism, technology has fundamentally transformed the way we live our lives. Now, when you just annotate these lines, it will be easy for you to pick up a very simple answer to this. Now, the question here is, according to the passage, what has technology fundamentally transformed in recent years? According to the passage, what has technology fundamentally transformed in recent years? Okay, so let's see what are the things it transformed. Revolutionized, transformed, communicate, work, and interact with world. Okay, and how is that done? With the help of smartphones and social media platforms to enable remote work and digital nomadism. Technology has fundamentally, okay, here we have fundamentally transformed the way we live our lives. Okay, now pick the wrong option, and then it'll be easy for you to move on to the closest and the right option. First of all, let's check with the keywords here. Transport. There is no mention about transport in the entire passage, so we can just knock it out from the list. Healthcare. They didn't talk anything about health, be it in a positive or a negative way, so we can knock this as well. Communication, work and interaction. Yes, we have communication, we have work and we have interaction. So don't you just directly go with this? Let's see what's the other option. Educational practice, and there is no mention about the educational practice. So as we take about ones which are not mentioned, it'll be easy for us to pick the right option. That's communication, work and interaction. This was a quite easy one. Let me try out with another tough passage for you. A little excerpt from another good article. I'm going to place that and explain to you how to solve those tough questions. But for the simple ones and the easy ones, don't you waste your time. You directly have to check with the keywords from the options. If there is a match with the keyword, then check the text there. If you do not find the keyword, don't you waste your time to check the keyword. And they make sure that the keywords are present so that you can easily pick it out, because even they know you have to manage your time. Now let's look into this passage. A little excerpt from an article, main article. In the age of information overload, it can be difficult to discern fact from fiction. With the rise of social media and online news platforms, misinformation and fake news have proliferated. Underline the word proliferated, leading to widespread confusion and distrust. In such environment, critical thinking skills are more important than ever. So this particular write-up talks about misinformation. Or the rise of fake news, in simple. And if you can get this on the day of test, if you can just read it in the little span of time that you have, and all you have to take is not more than 30 to 45 seconds to complete reading it, underlining these things. Because when you do it with your eyes without pronouncing the words or without reading out the words, it's going to be quick. You don't need a lot of time to do it. And then once you finish reading the question, get into the question. Don't try to understand any part of it. Now don't try brainstorming for ideas as in what is fact from fiction, how are news platforms, misinformation, fake news, how are they proliferating, or critical thinking, what is critical thinking and why do we need critical thinking. So don't you just think about all these, okay? All you have to do is just complete reading it and quickly move on to the question. A question here is, which of the following is not mentioned? Now carefully look at not. It's written in capital letters and at times it will be given in bold as well. Because here we have to find out something that is not mentioned as a consequence of proliferation of misinformation. Of the given options here, we have to find one which is not mentioned in as a consequence in the given little passage. Now let's see what are the options here. Widespread confusion. So do we have widespread confusion here? Yes, we have widespread confusion. We can knock it out. Increased trust in media outlets. Did they talk anything about media outlets? In such environment, critical thinking, okay, this is about critical thinking skills. Social media and online news platforms. Yes, they have mentioned about media outlets, but did they talk anything about trust or its increase? They just said have proliferated, they have increased, they said, but they did not mention anything about trust. So we can just keep it aside, okay? Distrust of information sources, okay, leading to widespread confusion and distrust. So here we have confusion and here we have distrust. So even this is mentioned, so that is not the answer. Difficulty discerning fact from fiction. It can be difficult to discern. So to differentiate fact, that's clearly mentioned. So even this is not your option. So the only option left out is this. because the word trust is not mentioned in the entire passage. So if you point out, or if you just underline, annotate these lines, so you can clearly point out to the information that you need, and that increases your speed in getting the right option. This way you can get the answer accurately. At the same time, you can save a, a good amount of seconds that you can use it for other difficult parts of the test. For that reason, please annotate and then look for the details with the keywords from the question. Spot on, you get your answer, and just mark it and leave from there. And now don't you waste your time trying to analyze, is this still there or missing? You have your answer because the rest of the three are clearly mentioned. So once you get your answer here, stop there and quickly move on to the next set of questions. So this is all we have for the comprehension part. Now we'll look into other aspects. I'm going to take up another topic that is related to your verbal ability. Okay, now let's look into parajumbles. Parajumbles are also referred to as sentence rearrangement. So you'll be getting a couple of sentences, not in an organized manner, and you've got to pick a logic here. So this part of parajumbles not just checks a person's verbal ability, but also his logical thinking, because you need to have a flow of ideas and form a meaningful paragraph. Either they're going to give you the opening and the closing line and ask you to arrange paragraphs in between, or they may give you altogether 6 different sentences or 5 different sentences and ask you to organize them in a sequential order. Now here, you need to have a clear understanding about the grammar. So the grammar plays a vital role in organizing these ideas. It will help you to check where and which particular sentence suits in the sequence here. So you've got to be careful about the subject-verb agreement, and then you have to apply your cognitive skills in terms of organizing the ideas, and then check with pronouns and the reference from the entire passage or from the entire sentences there, so that you have a meaningful paragraph. All right. And more than this, you also need to have a clear understanding about transitional words, because transitional words help you connect or link these ideas which are not placed in an order. And we've got different types of transitional words, which we'll discuss a little later. But for now, let's understand how to solve these kind of questions. The first and foremost thing we need here is the topic statement. Once we have a hold of the topic statement, analyzing and organizing the remaining set of sentences is going to be easy part. Now, what is a topic statement and how to find it? Let's solve it together. Let's consider this example. Now, this is not a disorganized one. This is organized in a logical way, and this is very clear. Now, to identify the main idea or theme of a paragraph, you have to understand what this is all about. Now, here the main idea is dog. Because if you read the first statement, dogs are known as man's best friend. They exhibit loyalty, companionship, and affection towards their owners. Many people consider them as part of their family, and some breeds are used for specific tasks such as herding, hunting, or guarding. Now, we have mentioned about dogs in this statement. The rest of all use a pronoun for dog, as in they here, them, some breeds. Now, all these reflect to the main idea. So we have to immediately identify what the main idea is in the entire passage. What is the topic about? And if we can identify that dog is the main topic, then it will be easy for us to organize the remaining set of sentences. But if you don't identify the main one, if you start with they, many people consider, or some breeds, you're missing on the important idea, that is dog. So many people consider them, what are they here? Or if you go with they exhibit, who are they here? Some breeds of what? That is the question that we have. So every sentence you read, you have to understand the context as in whom they are referring to. Parajumbles also test your ability to understand the context of a sentence in relation with other clues given in the complete set of sentences. So in one context, what is it trying to say? And how is it related to another sentence? And in whole, do we have a logical flow? Are we able to clearly explain something in detail? That counts for arranging parajumbles. And this is very important for any corporate organization, because when you have a set of ideas, thoughts, or flow of thoughts, you need to express them to your superiors, the board, your client. And if you are not organized, or if you cannot logically connect, that'll be a trouble. And for that reason, all these tests like NQT test or any other corporate entrance test will require parajumble. So this is not just important for the NQT test. It will be useful for you in the future whenever you're applying to any other corporate organization. All right. Let's consider another example. Now here we have climate change is a pressing global issue that requires immediate action. Rising global temperatures, extreme weather events, and melting ice caps are all evidence of the impact of climate change. However, efforts to address climate change have been hampered by political and economic interests. Scientists warn the failure to mitigate climate change could have catastrophic consequences for the planet and the future generation. Now, if you see, there is something common in all the four sentences, and that is climate change. We have climate change in the first sentence, we have climate change in the second sentence, we've got a climate change in the third and the fourth sentence as well. Now, here we may get it out. Which one should we pick? Now, if you analyze each sentence, the first sentence clearly talks about a pressing issue which needs an immediate action, and that is climate change. In all the other sentences, these are sequential sentences which talk about a solution or a consequence to the issue we have here. So without any doubt, you should be picking climate change as the main topic here. And if you see, you have the remaining sentences which support the pressing issue, that is climate change. Now, if you see here, rising global temperatures, extreme weather events, and melting ice caps are all evidence of impact of. So this talks about the impact, and this talk about the failure to counter this impact. However, efforts to address climate change have been hampered, have been halted or stalled by political and economic interests. And here, if you see, there's a warning. Now, this is a result, and this is a consequence the people have to face. Okay, no, that's not the consequence. This is the cause here. Now, this talks about a reason why this is not implemented, and the last sentence talks about consequences of not implementing it. So everything is logically connected. And if you notice here, however, this is a transitional word. And if you have a knowledge of transitional words, there are different transitional words for different situations. And getting to know those transitional words will really help you crack parajumbles with ease. So once you identify the main sentence, when you have an idea about the transitional words, organizing the paragraphs within the main sentence and the concluding statement is going to be easy for you. Even linking words help you understand what is the concluding statement. So you can immediately pick the concluding statement, and you know how to pick the main statement. Main statement is the one that talks about the entirety of the passage here. So first identify one sentence that has the entirety of the passage, and then with the help of linking words organize all the paragraphs in middle, and then with the linking words again find out the last sentence. And at times your main idea or the main sentence will be at the top. Usually it will be at the top, but at times it can be in the middle, and at times it can be in the end. That is a rare condition. That depends on the flow and that depends on the text. But usually main sentence will be at the top. All right. Now let's see some of the ways in which you can identify the main idea from the given sentences. So whenever you're trying to find the main idea or the main sentence from the parajumble sentences, you get the main idea or theme with a sentence that talks completely about the remaining set of sentences there. So whenever you find a sentence which has everything related to the topic or which gives you the theme of the entire paragraph, that will be the main sentence. If you fail to get it with the theme or the idea, you're not able to identify it, then look for a paragraph. Read the sentence, not the paragraph, read the sentence and try understanding the sentence, which gives you a broader perspective, or as in what is there in the entire sentences there. Look for one sentence which clearly explains or which is apart from the rest, where it has more information or if it is summarizing in a way. Okay, so not able to find with the main idea or theme? No problem. Check a sentence where you have a complete overview of the entire sentences or a summary to the entire, which has everything in a cut short way. If you're not able to find the overview or the summary, no, you need not worry. Then you can check with the keywords. Like in the previous two examples, climate change, dogs were the keywords. Find these nouns, the keywords, and the more you find them in the remaining sentences, that will give you a clear idea as in which is the main keyword. And once you have the keyword, look for a sentence which introduces the keyword, which talks about the keyword, which tells you about the keyword, and that will be your main sentence. And also look for the flow of ideas. Now you have a couple of ideas reorganized. And when you try identifying sentences which explain the flow, then it will be easy for you to pick the main idea, because the one which is not in the flow, you can either keep it at the top or you can keep it at the bottom. And that way you can either have your main idea or the main sentence, or you may have the concluding line there. And the most common rule here is usually the main idea will be there at the beginning, not in the order there, but usually whenever you are searching for the main idea, sentence from the main idea, it will be present at the beginning. But there is no guarantee. When they want to confuse you, they can intentionally give these flow of ideas in such a way it may be pushed to the middle or it may be pushed to the end. Either ways, you're going to find a standard statement, and around that statement you're going to assimilate or you're going to organize the remaining set of sentences, and thereby your job will be all too easy, because here speed and precision matters the most. So apply these rules in finding the main idea. Further, we'll look into how to organize the remaining set of sentences. Now let's look into the transitional words. These transitional words will help you organize the sentences between the main idea and the concluding phrase. Whenever you have to give additional information, you usually find additionally, furthermore, and there are few others like additionally and furthermore, those transitional words which add more to the given information. So when you find a sentence beginning with additionally or furthermore, it cannot be the first sentence, it cannot be the main. So this way it will also help you eliminate all those unnecessary sentences which you may think as the main idea. Contrast is a negative transitional word, and usually it talks about the differences there, like however, nevertheless, how different is one entity from the other. So one subject, how different is it from the other? The negative part of it, you get it with however and nevertheless. These are the contrasting transitional words. And whenever you have a comparison where there is something in common between them, you go with similarly, likewise, and these are positive transitional words. So contrasting you have however, nevertheless, these are negative transitional words. So it's good for you to refer to negative and positive transitional words, and with that you can understand that there should be a statement about this before you try to differentiate it, or you try finding a comparison or a similarity to that. And this one talks about cause and effect, consequently, therefore. Like first you need to find a cause, and there's the effect here, consequently, therefore. So with these, when you find these transitional words, it's easy for you to put them down in the list because there should be a sentence above it. And for the timing, firstly, this is for the process. Firstly, secondly, meanwhile, finally, the beginning of something to the end of something. As in a process, if there are sentences given as a process there, these transitional words will help you immediately think about or immediately find a logical flow of thoughts and events there. And whenever you have examples, for example, for instance, these are the transitional words which talk about the examples. And usually we quote examples only after explaining a topic. So we don't begin with an example and then get into the topic. Likewise, so when you find, for example, or for instance, in this given list of sentences, then you can clearly understand that there are sentences about that. And these are concluding transitional words, like in conclusion, to sum up. This is very common, and you are lucky enough if you can find these, because when you find in conclusion, to sum up, ultimately, to conclude, or finally, you can directly place your sentence at the bottom because they are concluding transitional words, and they are only meant for conclusion, not for beginning. So when you find this, that's like a gift that you have from this given set of sentences, which you can easily grab and put it down and save a lot of time in organizing the remaining set of sentences. Furthermore, we will look into the ways in which you can take a limited amount of time for solving these parasamples. So sequentially we will look into some of the steps that you have to follow in order to get a perfect set, or if in case you're not able to find a set, then we'll look into options how to eliminate the incorrect set. Now these are some of the ways in which you can organize the sentences between the main sentence and the concluding sentence. First of all, identify pronouns and reference from the given set of sentences. Now each sentence may have or may not have a pronoun, but some of the sentences will have pronouns, because whenever you want to explain, whenever someone wants to explain something, they're not going to take the noun repeatedly. That creates a little bit of boredom. For that reason, usually we go with pronouns or reference. Referent is nothing but a noun which refers to a pronoun. Any noun that reflects a pronoun is called as referent. All right, so first look for pronouns and quickly scan the sentences, identify the pronouns and reference, and then recognize some of the common pronouns like he, she, it, that, they, when they are grouped together or when they are addressing them individually in the sentences there. So first you have a reference about a noun, and then you have he, so the name will be the first one and the he will be the second one. Similarly, group and they, so the group will be the first sentence and they will be the next sentence. Also look for nouns and separate pronouns. Like apart from these reference and all you find, look for nouns, the new terms or the new names that you find which are not common in between these, and also pronouns which are away from that, because this will form one set and this will form another set from the given sentences. And then identify the relationship between these nouns and pronouns and the above pronouns and reference them, and that will create a sequence of events for you. Also be careful about the gender and the number. They should be in agreement with the above. Like if you have a noun mentioned in a feminine gender, the same pronoun should follow it. Similarly, if it's in masculine, the same pronoun should follow it. And also if they are in singular, it should be in singular, and if they are in plural, it should be in plural. Suppose if it's a single person there, he, a single lady there, she, or if you have a group there, that, or if it's a single entity, then it has to be it. So this gender and number equality should be maintained all throughout your sentences. Accordingly, organize your sentences. And finally, check, once you have all the set of sentences there, is there a logic? Is it trying to convey a story without any interruptions or without any confusion in it? If you find any sentence deviating from the sequence or trying to confuse you in any ways, then you have picked the wrong sequence. So check for the logical flow of thoughts and also analyze the contextual clues. So every sentence will give you a context. It gives you a message. It tries to convey something to you. So that clues, are they logically connected with one another? When you verify that, you have the sequence. And if in case you're not able to follow any of these, you're not able to do it good with any of these said rules, all you have to do is go with the elimination process. That is, you know how to pick the main idea. Pick the main idea, and with the help of transitional words, try picking the last idea. And when you place these two, main and the last idea, in place, the remaining set, you can verify it with the options that are there below your parajumble question. And you find any option that is logical, you can pick it up. And if you find any option little deviating or confusing the story, then you can eliminate it. This way also you can find answers for your parajumble questions. Well, to summarize, pick the main idea, pick the concluding line, use the transitional words, check for the logic in separating these ideas, and then you have your perfect set of statements, and that's your perfect answer. And be very cautious with the transitional words and picking the main word, because when you have these in place, it'll be easy for you, and at the same time you can save a lot of time. Okay, now let's consider this example. However, social media platforms have also been criticized for spreading misinformation and fake news. We have already seen that linking word however is a contrasting or a negative one, and we need a statement about this. So this will never be the main idea. Now let's look for all the nouns here. Social media, social media, social media, and social media. We have social media as the main noun. Let's consider the second statement. Social media has revolutionized the way people communicate and share information globally. The rise of social media has had a profound impact on society and culture. With billions of users worldwide, social media platforms have become powerful tools for connectivity and expression. Now, which one to pick? Which is the one that talks about the entire passage? And what's the main idea in the entire passage? That is social media. And this is the sentence where it begins with social media, which talks about how it revolutionized social media and its revolution. If we consider this as the main sentence, because it has everything that summarizes the complete set of sentences that we have, so the social media should be followed by something that adds to its impact. And here we have the rise of social media has had a profound impact on society and culture. So this is social media and a continuation to that, the rise of it and its impact on society and culture. And to support this statement, we have, with billions of users worldwide, social media platforms have become powerful tools for connectivity and expression. First, we have the main idea of social media, which is connected by its impact, and further how vast it has spread. We have it with this one. And finally, we have a contrasting one. However, social media platforms have also been criticized. We have a criticism here. Here we talk about its proliferation, and here we have a criticism. So the correct sequence for this is B followed by C, D, and A. Alright, so when you pick the main idea, you get the last idea. And if you're confused where to place the last idea, now look for the connecting ideas. You have the connecting ideas, and then will be left out with the last idea. And this way you have a logical presentation. You have a logic for conveying the main ideas, that's social media. So this makes your job much easy to get over these parajumble questions. Okay, with this we end parajumbles, and now we'll move on to cloze test, another important aspect for the TCS NQT test. And finally to the cloze test. Now cloze test is a paragraph with blanks in between, where you have to fill in the blanks with the given set of options. For every blank you will find 3 to 4 or 4 to 5 options. Every fifth, sixth or seventh word will be a blank in the cloze test. From the entire paragraph you have sentences there, and within a sentence, after every fifth, sixth or seventh word they give you a blank, and you have to fill the blank with appropriate word. They give you a set of words and you need to pick it from the given set of words. Now what's so troublesome about cloze test is it looks simple. In fact it is simple, but the problem here is you need to have a broader prospect or a broader overview of grammar, because cloze test doesn't just check your ability to pick the right word, it also checks your grammar. All the grammar rules, the subject verb agreement, the tenses, prepositions, all the parts of speech, verbs, nouns, pronouns, prepositions, everything come into play. You need to have a better understanding of grammar. If you're good with grammar, your basics of grammar, if it is really good, then it's going to be easy for you on the cloze test. And here there is no conjecturing, no guesswork wherein you can assume something as the right answer. Unless and until you are good with the grammar, it's not going to be easy for you to pick the word, because they will give you words which confuse you. They give you all the options very close to the given blank, wherein it's not going to be easy for you unless you have revised all the rules of your grammar. Starting with subject verb agreement, then revise your tenses, all the 12 tenses for present, past and future, all included 12 tenses. Read each and every tense, know its rules, apply them, try solving some of the exercises and questions, get a hold of tenses, and that will add to your easiness in solving cloze test. Coming to the vocabulary, it's not just about the grammar. At times they are going to check in terms of your knowledge on vocabulary, as in the synonyms and antonyms. They may give you a set of words which are close to a particular word and ask you to pick the synonym from the given options, or they may ask you to find an opposite to the given word from the option. So if your and this is not something like you're good at it, but they are going to check your vocabulary using cloze test. So they check your grammar, they check your vocabulary, and they also check your comprehension skills, because you are not doing sentences here, but you're doing as a whole a complete paragraph. The paragraph has many sentences here. and every sentence has got grammar in that, and some sentences require you to use the right vocabulary, right word there, for which your vocabulary is tested. And to get to know which is the right one, which is the right word, or what's the right tense, or what's the right agreement there, subject verb agreement there, for which you need to understand the complete passage in totally. And once you have a complete understanding about the passage, then you can apply these two. So these are the three main skills that's tested with your cloze test. Now let's see some of the ways in which we can tackle these questions coming for your cloze test. Okay, here are a few tips as in how to deal with the cloze test. First of all, read the passage carefully. Most of the times candidates do not spend time reading the paragraph or the passage there. All they try to do is solve each and every sentence individually. These sentences are logically connected. They have a meaning. And one sentence talks about the other to the other. So one idea passes on from one sentence to the next and to the concluding statement. So if you do not read the passage as a whole and you just try solving it question by question there, you are going to miss on the crux of the passage, the main idea of the passage. And when you're not aware of the main idea, then you may pick words which may be suitable for the blanks there, but overall it is not going to help you in giving the complete passage a meaning or making it a more meaningful passage or the paragraph there. For that reason, take time. Read the entire passage. Read it once, read it twice, read it thrice, no problem. Because you have set of questions here. You're not just solving a single blank. You have set of questions for the cloze test. So spending little more amount of time in reading the complete passage or the paragraph for a couple of times is never going to be a wrong idea. In fact, this is going to help you. This is going to reward you with a good number of scores. All right, for that reason, please read the passage carefully from the beginning to the end before you look into the options. And once you complete reading the passage, now get into the sentences. Look for the blanks. Look for the contextual clues. And where do you find these contextual clues? You find it within the sentence before the blank and after the blank, like preposition on. So it can be, the answer can be about position there, the answer can be about platform there, the answer can be about time. And when you have the preposition, suppose you have a blank and there is a preposition before that, on. Now what kind of a preposition is this? Now you apply your grammar rule there. You know that we use preposition on for surface, time, reason. Now you need to understand which is the preposition suitable for this particular blank. And that idea you get it from the entire sentence there. And not just that single sentence, but the remaining sentences will also push you towards the word that is uniform or that is in unison with the entire paragraph. Now your word, to find the word that you need, you're going to look for clues before and after the blank there. And once you have the clue before and after the blank, now you're going to find out what kind of a word you need. And for that you need clues from the text there, from the sentence there. Also, an idea or the overview of the complete passage will also push you towards the word which is apt for that particular blank. If you just read the sentence and pick it up, you may end up picking a word that suits the preposition before the blank, but you may not be getting the right word which gives more meaning to the passage entirely. To avoid that, don't you just look at the blank and the word before that, but also the clues from the sentence there. And also check for the syntax of the sentence, as in what kind of a grammar has been used there, and what's the tense there, what's the agreement, subject verb agreement there, and how should your answer be in agreement with the remaining grammar in the sentence there. Is it balancing the sentence or not? For that reason, use your grammar and syntax along with contextual clues. If you try solving it individually with just the contextual clues or with just the grammar and syntax, you're going to pick a wrong one. Now you need to have both grammar, you need to check the syntax, and it should also blend with the contextual clues. Only then you get the right answer here. And the most common way they're going to question you is use collocations, like words, compound nouns which exist side by side, like dime a dozen, or compound like bread and butter, wine and dine. Okay, so at times they're also going to test using collocation. So if you're aware of some of the common collocations, it'll be easy for you to pick the pair immediately, because not just word always, but they may also test you with a phrase or a word. A word is something you find it in common, but at times they are also going to test you with phrases. For that reason, try learning some of the collocations and phrases, commonly used collocations and phrases. And you know, we use a lot of collocations in day-to-day conversations as well, like bread and butter, wine and dine, and some other common collocations which you can recollect, or try searching it over the net and learn some of the collocations, because based on the collocations, at least one or two phrases you will find for your close test. And then eliminating incorrect options. Now you have applied your contextual clues, you've applied your grammar, and that's not about the case of collocation there. You have some other words related to the grammar and the context. Now you may get a doubt, have I applied it right or wrong? Or if you're not able to pick it up from the options, all you're going to do is place each and every word in the blank there and see if that word is completing the sentence and adding meaning to the passage. If it is completing the sentence and not adding meaning to the passage, then that's a wrong option. If it is not completing the sentence, makes no sense. But if you have a word which completes the meaning and also adds meaning to the entire passage, completes the sentence, adds meaning to the entire passage, then that is the word you are looking for, and that's how you're going to eliminate incorrect options. Identifying themes is very important here. What is the paragraph all about? What is it trying to convey? Unless and until you have a clear understanding on that, you cannot check with the contextual clues, and you may not be in a position to apply the grammar, because you will just be applying the grammar to solve that particular sentence itself. But here you need to understand the theme, because when you understand the theme, it will be easy for you to follow the logic, to follow the flow of ideas in the passage or the paragraph. And when you have a complete idea about the flow of thoughts in the paragraph, it makes your job much easier in finding the words using your contextual clues and the grammar there. And also check the word, whichever you place, is it maintaining the logic or is it coherent, closeness to the passage or the paragraph there. The word may fit in there, but if it is not coherent or not following the logic, then your word is incorrect one. All right, so apply these rules, try solving as many close test questions as you can, and as you practice, your accuracy improves, your speed improves, and your precision also improves for the test. Well, this is all we have from the verbal part for the campus recruitment training and for NQT test 2024 conducted by TCS. It's been an honor to teach you verbal ability. If you have further doubts, you need any help, please put it in the comment section and we will be more than happy to help you out. Also refer to our portal CRT training from Visualpath. We have lots and lots of verbal ability stuff, stored up for you. Make good use of it, and all the best for your TCS NQT test 2024. This is Arun signing off. Thank you and goodbye.